Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another news roundup. You're joined once again by myself, GetSelious and SithScott.
Hello.
We have an interesting round of news this time around, so I hope you guys enjoy the chill beats, the cool gameplay, and our, I guess, news we got for you. Let's start with the first one.
So the first one we have is Duelists of Eden. For those of you who may not be big into either Game Pass or the indie-ish scene, there's a game called Step from Eden, which was actually pretty good. And Silius talks a lot about it being like the Mega Man Battle Network games.
Yeah, it has a lot of similarities to Mega Man Battle Network, where you collect cards or a chip of deck and you use it to fight enemies. This game was essentially a much more difficult version than the Battle Network series and had much more possibilities in its gameplay design, where you can choose if you want to kill or defeat bosses, which is crazy because you could kill a boss and then gain their power, and then not you can not kill a boss and it could be your friend and help you, which some bosses are playable. Hell, even the merchant was killable and playable if you were crazy enough to do so. Please don't do that, she's actually top tier. um so it's a really fun game. And now Duelist from Eden is a multiplayer version of it, so you will be playing against other people with the deck or things you made. I'm very interested to see how the game works. Will you build your own deck? Will each character have their own deck? I want to see the customization. Oh, and the best part about it is the game will have rollback netcode, which for fighting game people is the best thing ever. Scott, I know you played Dragon Ball Fighters. Dragon Ball Fighters is not known for good rollback netcode.
No, but it's still very entertaining. But I also think that Dragon Ball Fighters is a lot more casual as a game compared to the other games Arc has made, like the Guilty Gear series.
True,
That doesn't
true.
mean it's not fun, but I feel like you don't need to do as much to do like combo chains.
Well, Guilty Gear Strive is a bit on the simpler side, so if you ever want to try that, but the netcode in Guilty Gear Strive is rollback, which is a lot superior than Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's delay based, but rollback netcode has been a contentious in the fighting game community, and it's been, when put in games, proven to make a much better fighting game experience. And the fact that the newest Duelist from Eden, newest Eden game will have rollback is insanely, like, I couldn't. It's insanely good. So that game's out good net code. I'm looking forward to the gameplay, and I hope there's a demo coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it too, just because it always reminds. Well, games like this remind me not just of the Mega Man Battle Network game, but there's a game on the AdultSwim.com website that I played as a 13-year-old who thought I was being edgy. Called that was Inuyasha. That was on a similar playing field. Just it wasn't nearly as fast paced.
sounds sounds cool. Wait, are you talking about the AdultSwim.com when it was flashy, or when it used to be a gaming company?
The Flash games.
Okay,
Those the more edgy Cartoon Network.com.
a different time. This is a different time.
Yeah, not nearly as robust though as Newgrounds Flash games. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the less we talk about Newgrounds, the better, because that's a pit hole of things. Not because of the stuff there, is that they said Newgrounds, and then somebody accidentally clicks one of those A games, and then you're in trouble.
I mean, as a kid, you don't know what the AO even means,
That is true. That is very true.
and they don't even have it like in their rating ranks, which is kind of hilarious. But at least they did it. They probably do now, but I haven't been on Newgrounds since I was like 15, so you know.
Yeah, do what you got to do from there.
Yeah. Another game that we're going to talk about is the Night Bewitched series. So we have gotten a few information from the creator of this, and they're just looking for people that are interested in reviewing this kind of game because it's a lot more positive for the LGBT community, and it actually does look pretty interesting in a sense that, well, for me, I like it because as they were talking about what inspired them to get into just games and like making stories was actually the old seasons of Ruby, which I really liked. I know other people aren't the biggest fans of how Ruby works.
I think it's like Ruby as a concept. No insult to Monty and the creative team that is around that beautiful stuff going on. Is that Ruby? The problem with Ruby is that Ruby, like, I want to say, like, after the third season, it became like, what's going on, you know?
It became your average anime of just plot twist after plot twist, kind of.
Ex- exactly. It lost a lot of its like early of its charm, as well as, not to put a down on a thing. Monty passing away, a lot of creative direction is lost when that happens to the creators, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the fight scenes I don't think are as intricate, but the animation and just like the way that the art style is, I think, a positive. I really do like how they made some of the characters look when they aged. But anyways, back to Night Bewitched. It's technically, yeah, it's an indie game that basically is about you trying to go after this witch because your king said so, and then you not be able to kill her, and then because you don't kill her, the king wants to kill you, and so the witch then saves you. And you go on to a lot of fun escapades of adventures. And so Night Bewitched is the first of what's known as a trilogy of the Bewitched series. The newest one was made last year, sometime in like July or something. So there's 3 games you get to look at, and it does look, I think, really good. But that's just because I'm one of those guys that love turn-based games that have, you know, stories and some cool little custom characters.
That's kind of cool. I'll definitely give it a look out when it comes out. At least give it a chance to look at it. Though I'm more interested to see what they mean by Ruby inspiration. Are they referring to, I guess, art direction or action? Definitely cool to look out though.
Yeah, I'm hoping that might be a little more of the action, just because the first 3 seasons Ruby have some intense action scenes and sets, and I loved a lot of the way that they played. But I don't think any of them still come close to like near the end of the first season, where they have that giant fight when they're trying to finish their course to become the leaders of the teams.
Yeah.
So those look pretty sick.
That sounds cool indeed.
So going to the less indie scene of information that we have, Pokemon Arceus came out.
Oh yeah, Pokemon, the greatest indie game of all time. Small indie developers at Game Freak.
Yeah, those graphics will definitely give some indie vibes, that's for sure. But anyways, it sold 6.5 million just on the 3 days that we have numbers for, which I think is very nice, especially for a series that has pretty much plowed the same formula over and over and over again, and then Arceus being their first step away from that formula by not only, actually revamping the battle system, including an open world exploration fest, as well as, my favorite bit, only making 1 game. We don't have to buy 2 games to have the full Pokédex.
That's true. I think it's also pretty good is that they stick with the formula, and I think Pokemon, in my opinion, has went through a dry spell for a lot of times, and it's good that they found a way to renovate themselves, Like
I hope that this keeps going. I hope to see more of the Legends Arceus system going, because I think it's a lot more fun, and it's a lot bigger on exploration and letting you have a payoff for actually doing side quests, which, games that give you payoffs for side quests is always a good thing.
That's good. That's definitely good. I'm glad, and also I'm glad the game being successful is always good.
Alrighty, well that's Pokemon information. Going to something more, I guess, recent in terms of things that we're going to see. So Ghostwire Tokyo had its first big gameplay reveal this week, and honestly, I think it looks really good. I don't know how it's gonna play because Bethesda's really known for their launch day releases. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Look, man, it's not a Bethesda game, but the Bethesda bugs. Let's put it that way, okay?
But it looks like it's gonna be a fast-paced first-person game that you basically go around and kill ghosts. Why not? It's called Ghostwire.
Yeah. The trailer looks phenomenal though, and I think the game direction is great. A first-person action game, it really depends how the action's done. Or we get something like Bulletstorm or Shadow Warrior, or we get something more like in-depth or spy-heavy, like or horror, like Prey or Dishonored. I'm really looking forward to how this game works, honestly.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it works too. I've also noticed that most of the big Bethesda games coming out have always been PS5 exclusives for a little bit.
Well, they still have to honor their deals for the time being. When they were purchased by Microsoft, and we'll probably have more to talk about honoring their deals sometime soon.
Yeah. Speaking of Microsoft acquisitions, the FTP, I think it is.
FTC, I believe. Yeah.
FTC. Those are the people. They are now officially looking into the Microsoft acquisition of Activision and Blizzard. And Adam Conover, I believe, had a big rant about this.
Yeah.
he talked about his views on why he did not like this acquisition going through.
Well, he not liked it. He explained why this is a big deal. And if you guys don't remember Anna Conover is that guy who was on Adam Ruins Everything, the small clips you may have seen on Facebook in the day that became a TV show that's on the internet and you watch YouTube for free. He also has a podcast, which again, I'm going to little endorse here, called Factually. It's really interesting, where he deep dives into a lot of topics and does what he does. You know, he's a very well-researched guy. I have nothing but respect for him. So basically, and it's something I agree to with, and to its degree, is that, so as we mentioned before in a previous news roundup, that Microsoft isn't known for a huge, like similar to Nintendo or PlayStation, in a sense of quality or something that latches to them. But what they start doing now is buying up studios, so they have more publishing power. Microsoft is now a very large publishing house. Quality, we can argue that later. And now, since they own Activision Blizzard, it is one of the biggest publishing houses in the industry, which is very scary. Why would you think that's scary, Scott?
I mean, it's because they have basic control of a lot of prices just for a majority of the games that get sold. It's like, sure, Activision isn't the biggest market of games, but it does probably have some of the most games sold in copies, especially since like the Call of Duty games are always in like the top 10 sold for every year.
Exactly.
So when you have a giant share of what mostly gets bought out, when you put your prices either changed in some way, it's going to also change the competition's.
Exactly. And that's a good thing. What also makes it scary is that, as you may be aware, and other people have, Microsoft has been moving towards the service side of the digital pass system, their Xbox Game Pass, I believe it's called, right?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest. Well, I'm a big fan of Game Pass, but I'm not a big fan of them focusing only on digital.
Exactly.
Because if you look at their physical discs, they actually need, like, any games that have been made from like the last half of the Xbox One to now do not actually have the game on their discs, which is different for both PlayStation and Nintendo Switch, where they actually have game data on their discs.
That is true.
Halo Infinite was a 20 gig game, and the disc had like 5 gigs on it. Like, holy crap, what?
Exactly. Now, the part that makes this super scary is that because they have such a huge advantage, or I guess a huge market push in digital, they could push into the digital services and put a lot of company and publishers out of business with this, simply because they're the biggest dog in the yard. So they're being currently investigated by the FTC, and they'll see if they're a monopoly or anything that goes with that. So I hope that, So I hope they get investigated. I hope they put some protection for them so they can't harm the industry in some way. Because I don't want to live in a world where they can hurt I don't want to work hurt the indies. I don't want to work on other publishers or other things. Like, there are tons of companies I may not be a fan of personally, but I don't want to go out of business because people enjoy their games.
Yeah, exactly. I like people enjoying their games too.
Yeah.
And there is some good news in this. Like, because of the FTC investigations, Microsoft has announced that they're going to be also releasing games on the PlayStation, even on the Nintendo Switch, even after the deals have been done.
Yes. Them adhering to multi-platformism is good. Let's just leave it as that. That's a good idea. Everyone should be multi-platforms. But I hope the investigation goes well. And honestly, if it does look like a monopoly, the government has the right to bust it up. But as long as Bobby Cottage was his job, screw that guy, right? Bobby Cottage should be out of a job, so yeah.
As long as Bobby's gone, we have a win.
Exactly, I'll take with that. Oh, and as long as somebody buys Blizzard or clean them up, because Blizzard is not a great company. Let's just, oh god, so many failures. Warcraft 3v4s, everyone. That nightmare.
Yeah, that was not pretty.
Yeah.
How do you make a remaster that looks worse than the original game is always my question.
I think they did that to let them know they're dying. But on a very serious note, though, this is very interesting, though. Like, when people keep saying, XX company should buy XX, I think people need to start thinking forward, not because they want their favorite game or platform. Think about what it means to the market. There's a reason why the market is kind of the way it is in some capacity. At least in some capacity. Obviously, there's some parts that are weird, like, some companies are loyal to the companies, like what was it? I think was it Capcom? Was it Microsoft a while back? Should I buy Capcom? And it didn't work out for them because Capcom was loyal to and
I
Capcom.
don't remember entirely.
Yeah.
I know that they've apparently tried to go to a few different companies and them not really going it because of the other company's terms.
Yeah.
I don't entirely know all of the details. I'm not the biggest insider, but
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
seen things off and on.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's just the way it is in some capacity. But yeah, I think it's generally interesting though for the industry to go that way. But yeah, I think that wraps up our beautiful news roundup this time, right?
Yeah, that's the wrap up. There's nothing I have on this list for this one.
I guess the only thing we could have a list to add more is, yeah, whatever you do, watch out for samurais. They're pretty evil. But I guess what we could do is we could actually end this roundup is I hope you guys enjoy the content. If you have already, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out a lot. Hit the bell as well. Be sure to like the video and share the video with your loved ones and so you know, help the algorithm, all that jazz. You can even comment what you think about our news. Our social medias will be low in the description box. You can follow us on Twitter and Twitch, where we do other things besides gaming news content and reviews for the Outerhaven.
Yeah, very good to check out.
Very good to check out. Yes, you can see. Maybe you'll find one day you'll see Scott raging at his bad rolls in Genshin Impact, or you'll see me ranting about comics for some reason, because apparently I read comics. All right, and with that, we'll let you guys go. I hope you guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.